Joshua Crespo.
Security. Security. Where are security? Security, let's go!
Can you all stop it? Come on now. We're at a graduation. Let's enjoy ourselves. Let's have some love and peace togetherness. Let's put our hands together for togetherness and love. Love, come on, togetherness and love. Walk out nicely, please. Walk out nicely. Let's celebrate our graduates. This has never happened at all in my 28 years of being at Gateway. Never, ever, ever, ever. We are so sorry to our graduates.
Okay, our guests, friends, graduates, today is about our students. All right, so please calm down.
I will as soon as
Can we commence with this?
soon I see him coming in.
So, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our power Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakudash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders, great millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, wherever you may be. Wherever you may be, to you I say, Shalom, Mashallah, Shalom. All right, we're going to get to another session here, various articles. All right, just some recent news. We're going to start with the most recent one, which was what happened yesterday, afternoon, evening time, whatever. This so-called White House shooting. All right, where they say suspect approached the White House armed, and they put him down. Right, they deleted him, so on and so forth. So, and this is not too long after the two teenage boys. I forget how many they killed, maybe 2 or 3 people, and then they self-checked out in a car. Okay, and they were trying to call that a Muslim hate crime or something like that. And so not too long afterwards, all right, you have this happen. And I said this, I can't remember how far back, but I said don't be surprised if you start to see an uptake of scenarios like this. because we know that they're pushing for to be able to identify everybody. Um, you know, claiming something as national security or, pushing identity and things of that nature and all these types of things. Trump signed an executive order um, telling the banks to be able to identify people and things of that nature. All right, so I don't know what the devil is doing with this one, but sure enough, this ain't no random, scenario. Because look at the timing of all these things. Um, yeah, so as the scriptures say, which is the opening verse, 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us. We're not ignorant of his devices. All right, so I guess we'll play into that. Oh, also, I forgot about that one. Now I'm thinking about it. The ballroom incident, okay? Well, actually, it wasn't even really the ballroom, but he was speaking about the ballroom, where you had the guy come in, and those videos were just, it tells it all, right? That Esau was just, sloppy. But yeah, you had that incident. I forgot about that one. That incident when the guy came through, was supposed to have a shotgun or something like that. All right, then before this, the most recent one was those two teenage boys. All right, who had the Nazi logo and all this kind of madness, and they deleted themselves. And now you have this.
Korespondentów Białego Domu. Znowu mamy do czynienia z sytuacją, gdy ktoś sięga po broń, gdy musi interweniować Secret Service i znowu wiadomo o tym, że padło tych strzałów przynajmniej kilkadziesiąt. Dwie osoby zostały ranne. Z tego co słyszymy, napastnik zaczął oddawać strzały w stronę osoby są ranne. Donald Trump był w Białym Domu, gdy doszło do tej strzelaniny. Na razie motywy nie są.
Yeah, I realize it's in another language.
Padły strzały, podobno napastnik zaczął strzelać w stronę uzbrojonych, mundurowych funkcjonariuszy Secret Service.
That lid, meaning we don't expect to hear or see from the president, despite all of this taking place. Some questions.
Yeah, so that's that. I don't really, like I said, I'm not going to talk too much on that, because it's not really too much to say as of now, besides what's on the news, which is why I play that one first. This next one here, okay, is about, I think this is the one about NYC, how it was flooded, okay? It got flooded by a storm, all right? And, the Lord talks about bringing, storm and tempest and, hailstones and something like that, all right? With all different signs, the Lord visiting the earth, okay? In all different ways, okay?
I'm going to call this one in. I can't open the doors. It's not safe. Give me a second.
So you have some individuals here who are actually in the subway when the flooding happened, and you heard the guy say, sorry, to the passengers, but I can't open the door. It's too dangerous. And obviously, because you see, I mean, this is from the inside of the subway train, almost a bus, subway train, and they're looking at, this flood damage here. So, yeah, of course, you don't want to open the doors and attempt to go out. I mean, because your mind is going to tell you to get the hell from underground. If you're underground and it's flooding, your mind should be telling you to get up from underground. But with the flooding, you can't just do that, especially for the fact that you might actually get wiped away. All right? It looks like if you look to the top left, you can actually see one of those booths and the gate and stuff like that. So you kind of get a small idea of how high this is flooding, especially if you live in a city, that has a, underground substation. You could probably get a general idea of just how high these waters are.
Attention passengers, I'm going to call this one in. I can't open the doors. It's not safe. Give me a second.
He said, attention passengers, are going to call this one in. I can't help it. I can't open the door. It's not safe. And it looks like this is a little spout. Maybe that's like a sewer hole. All right, that was there. I'm not sure. Or maybe it's something else, but it does look like there's a particular spout right there. Okay, just gushing up. It's probably where some of, not all of it, some of the water's probably coming from, because mind you, this is a flood, right? Above ground, all right, is, was pretty jacked up, right? So what more underground?
I can't open the doors. It's not safe. Give me a second.
Yeah, it's not safe because, they could get swept away. I mean, there's not much water there, but you never know the scenario. Also, they could get electrocuted. So, that's a terrible situation to be caught in. And you notice some people got their feet up. It's not that they're scared of water, but like I said, and I'm not saying that they were thinking about this, but whenever you have water damage, all right, and you never know where a current could or could not be, all right, so you could easily get electrocuted in any kind of water damage. And I'm not saying they were in this particular scenario. I'm just making a point, all right. My man got his feet up there.
Wow, I've never seen flooding like this, guys. Never. This is historic.
I believe this was in, I think this was Brooklyn. I can't remember. I think this was Brooklyn. Okay, yep. Multiple vehicles were submerged in floodwaters triggered by torrential rains in Queens and Brooklyn. So you see the water, right, up to the mid grill of a vehicle. All right, actually putting out one of the lights, or maybe it was already out. Probably water damage. I actually realized what kind of car that was. Kind of looking at the lights, I think that might be one of those like Charger type cars, or something similar, because it could be one of those other. I can't think of it, like a Nissan or something like that. But anyway, the highest rainfall was focused across southern Queens, including areas near JFK Airport.
Yesterday,
I started having something different for those people there. All right. Now, of course, there was no reported like any deletions or anything like that, as far as I know of. But yeah, that was a little bit different for them. Not saying floods haven't been in all places at some point in time, but like I said, they haven't seen it like this. Okay. So yeah, the Lord, and this is what I don't even know when I guess it's Monday, which I was just hearing about that yesterday. I think it's supposed to be Memorial Day. I might even be wrong about that. Memorial Day weekend, what they call it, and so on and so forth. So, you notice like the Lord, will sometimes, he'll do something, crazy to people's, so-called holiday times or their seasons or whatever. All right. Because the Lord is not dealing with them. Then you have people that'll say they believe in the Bible. All right. Like the Christians or whatever. And then they're doing Christmas. Okay. They're celebrating Halloween. It doesn't matter if they call it Hallelujah Night. You're doing Halloween, okay? You're just excluding all the ghosts and spirits and all that, everything, but everything else is the same. You're still giving out candy to the kids, okay? You're still amassing because if you were so against Halloween, why would you congregate at that high point of that holiday? All right, you should just forget about it altogether. Tell your congregation to go home or whatever the case may be. All right, 4th of July, same thing. You got Christians running out, downtown. All right. See, now I'm not saying that you wicked because you watch the fireworks. Okay, you want to watch the fireworks, watch the fireworks. But I'm talking about how other people of the world do it. They actually, carry on the whole tradition and the celebration or whatever. You got people in the churches that do that. Okay, Valentine's Day. All right. New Year's, they'll be a shut in sometimes of these churches for the New Year's Eve, and then they jumping around, praising Jesus, right? Because the New Year came in, and But you're doing the same thing of the world. You're just trying to give your own spin on it. And a lot of people in the churches don't see that, okay? Because they believe whatever that their pastors tell them when it comes to these certain things. And when they hear someone speak of the truth, matter of fact, because I guess word spreads. It could probably been several months ago, but somebody probably found my videos on YouTube, or maybe secretly recorded me or something. I don't know what it was, or maybe it was just word of mouth. Maybe it was none of that. Maybe it was just word of mouth. But I remember my dad sending me a text one day and talked about you'll be all right as long as you teach the gospel the right way. And of course, by default, I didn't respond because I'm like, what? I don't know what Pop's talking about. Because I'm teaching, the right gospel. All right, you're in the Christian church with the wrong gospel, and who leads y'all is two females. The pastor and the co-pastor are females. All right, and that's I'm not trying to put my dad down like that. I'm just making a point though. All right, people go to church, but they never read their Bible. And the pastor, especially if the pastor's female, she's never going to read where it says that a woman should learn in silence, all right, all subjection, all right, and have a husband or one man and all these different things of that nature, all right. And if you ever hear a female pastor read that, I guarantee she's about to come and say, "Well, God raising me up and come against," and it'll go over people's head. She'll go against what the Bible says to make her standpoint and justify her being up in front of this congregation at the head of a congregation. All right. But it's interesting, people have itching ears. Like, I'm not unknown around here. I mean, I may be unknown to a degree, but all these, big mouths around here, everybody knows that I go, downtown to preach. That's why they drive through downtown. All right. Wicked ninjas who wouldn't even really drive through uptown at all. All right. They're so afraid of the police. Wouldn't even drive through uptown. They randomly drive through uptown because they're looking for me. All right. And so that's why I switched up spots. Not switching up like, oh, I'm scared, I'm running. No, but I don't need you to seek me out what I'm doing. All right. And so I maneuver around them. All right. So you think I'm here, I'll go there. Or you think I'm here, well, I'll go there. All right. Because I notice people will be driving through, to see me out there. All right. So they can go back and laugh like, well, what is your life about? Okay. You got a guy, used to hang out with, try to come, oh, well, such and such said you're doing this. Well, I'm doing whatever they tell you I'm doing. All right. Because you asking a lot of questions that I ain't about to answer. All right. So, but anyways, but you just notice things. All right. You can play dumb. It's good to play dumb. All right. But just don't be dumb. All right. Because, these people are wicked out here. All right. So I'll play dumb like I don't understand. Okay. But I pay attention to my surroundings a lot. All right. When I'm out. Even if people think that I'm not paying attention to my surroundings. Okay. I am. All right. Familiar faces, unfamiliar faces. People that move weird, they stand out. All right. But, I'm getting off the point. So let's play some more. I think I'm about to switch to another video.
Yesterday,
Oh yeah, this is active right here. I actually had a live stream with this. So you have this chemical plant here that they are, which this we don't know how this is going to turn out. Garden Grove, California, and they've been actively trying to put this out for or not put it out, but because it's not a fire, but kill this situation here. I think for about 3 days now, and it's really a dire situation because they're saying that they have to really contain this thing so it doesn't explode. All right, that's the fear right now of this thing, catching fire and causing an explosion. All right, and I think it was like, I'm not sure if they tell us here, there's quite a bit of thousands of people who have to be evacuated. So let's see what the video has for us.
afternoon, I did report that we had some positive intel and that the tanks were stable and we were keeping the temperature cool, and actually we thought we were reducing it a little bit. Unfortunately, I had to say thought. Those temperatures we are doing is via drone, doing readings on the external vessel. It's not covering the interior temperatures inside of what's actually the liquid is at. So when the members went in there, they were able to go see the gauge that's being covered by water. You can't see it from a distance. You can't see it from a drone. They were able to go in there and see the gauge and actually see what the internal temperature is of this tank that's having issues. Unfortunately, I do have to report that the temperature was 90 degrees. Yesterday morning, it was 77 degrees when we backed out. Does it rupture and spill, or does it blow up? Right now, one of the concepts we're thinking about is because of the heavy deluge of water and cooling it, we're allowing it to cure at a slower rate and reducing its overpressure building. We're looking for places that we can push this fluid, should it fail, and try to prevent it from getting into our storm drains, our river channels, and ultimately into the ocean, doing an environmental disaster.
And you got a similar scenario here happening with these oil refineries, all right? You pay attention to that, all right? All types of oil refineries, it just so happen to go up in flames, all the way Russia, all right? Refineries going up in flames, okay? And with the Hormuz problem, right? You see how that ties in, all right? A shortage, because there's a talk about shortage on jet fuel and diesel fuel. It may be coming a shortage on motor oil. Okay, so all those things are tying in with whatever scenario Esau's trying to come with next. All right, he's definitely putting trying to put the squeeze, all right, on the people, because ultimately what he wants to do is break, all right, the will of people. All right, he wants to break the people, and as all the turmoil and chaos piles up on him, that's where he's trying to create a scenario where people will turn to him, all right, and say, hey, whatever solution you have, I'm willing to take it. And guess what it's going to be? Having to identify yourself, a digital currency, and a microchip, all right? That's ultimately what he wants to move into, okay? And it's not going to be chaos out here because of Esau. Really, it's because it's part of the scriptures, the prophecies of Jacob's trouble. Okay, it's just that the Lord is going to utilize Esau to do it, right? That's why the scriptures say, "Deliver me from the wicked, which is thy sword." All right, Esau, Edom. Okay, and so so we have that scenario there. Very interesting whether or not the Lord allows them to contain that chemical plant incident. Because if not, the opposite end of that is that this thing may explode. So that'll be major, all right, which is why they evacuated people, because if they're in a scenario where this thing is going to explode, you want to have already removed people from the area, all right. So yeah, that was that's pretty much ongoing right now. Probably also the NY City flood. I'm pretty sure the flood waters didn't go away that quickly, but it's possibly as well as the other thing that we played. I forget what it was, the first video. Oh yeah, the NYC, the White House deletion thing, the shooter. All right, don't be surprised you see a manifest on this person. I don't think they showed. I haven't seen any clips. Maybe I just haven't come across when I haven't seen any clips actually identifying this person, like by picture. Actually, I don't even think they've identified by name yet, unless I just missed it. But I'm gonna see what who this person is. Maybe. So we have our next video here. I can't remember what this one is. So I'm gonna just play it. That's something you see only in a zombie movie. All right. And this is a whole barricade getting pushed out of the way. All right. Well, not a barricade, really. It looks like, in fact, it looks like a dumpster. They slide a dumpster out there. I think it sparked a fire underneath. I don't think anybody threw. Well, somebody could have threw something under there. Well, maybe that's the fire from. Okay, yeah. Okay, that was a fire that just kind of dropped underneath. Yeah, that's crazy. Let me go over here. Why, man, let me see here. Why is there protest? I just say poop in my blood. I say what red. All kinds of stuff pop up. Why is there protest in Serbia, Belgrade? Hold on, rub my eye real quick. All right, tens of thousands rally. Oh, let me pull it up. Tens of thousands. I hope they don't clip me because Al Jazeera used to flag me all the time on one of my other pages. Actually, they were the reason why the first page I ever made. They were the main reason why. One of the main reasons why that page was deleted because they were flagging me for their videos. Anyways, tens of thousands rally in Serbia for anti-government demonstrations. That might have been like 2 pages ago. I had like 2 or 3 pages taken down. At least 2 I know for a fact. It says tens of thousands rally in Serbia for anti-government demonstrations. The student-led movement, which began after Novi Sad rail station disaster in November 2024, is pushing for early elections. A lot of people out there, a drone view of demonstrators attending a student-led protest demanding snap parliamentary elections in Belgrade, Serbia on May 23rd. All right, tens of thousands of people led by university students have rallied in the Serbia capital to protest against the government and call for early elections. The Novi Sad rail station disaster in November 2024, which killed 16 people, sparked anti-corruption protests calling for a transparent investigation, forcing then Prime Minister Milo Vucevic to resign. All right. Serbia's President Aleksandar Vučić later pushed back hard against the protesters, with students leading the anti-corruption movement. The demonstrations have snowballed into a campaign to push Vučić to call early elections. He said this week that the ballot could be held between September and November this year. All right, so anti-government protesters take part in a rally led by Serbia's protesting university students who are pushing for a major political change in the Balkan country. All right. So yeah, this is what you have here. Uproars of the people. All right. A lot more and more people. Okay, in these different areas, more and more people are starting to stand up and hit the streets. About certain their particular way they feel about a particular situation or scenario, whatever the case may be. You're seeing this happen more and more and more, and that's because that's what the scriptures, all right, say would happen. All right, when you hear uproars of the people. I guess I can get it now. I was gonna wait, but let's go back to that. All right, let's go right to it. Uproars of the people. All right. Actually, I probably could have got there faster myself. I should just got there. All right. So, anyways, yeah. As a matter of fact, let's read from the top because the other things that we read there. The other videos that we played there. So 2 Ezra 9:1. He answered me then and said, "Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest, Yahweh Basham Shah, will begin to visit the world which you made." So all kinds of plagues, pestilences, uproars, deletions, cannibalism, all those things, all right, including the nuclear missiles at the very end, precede, all right, the Lord returning, or not actually the Lord himself, but he's sending his son Yahushua. So those things precede the actual return of our Lord and Savior. All right. And that's why it says in Matthew 24, when you shall hear wars, rumors of wars, be not troubled. All right. Because all these things are the beginning of sorrows, letting us know that all these things have to take place before he returns. And all these things are going to be taking place all over the earth, especially here in Babylon the Great. So it says, "Thou shalt understand that it is the very same time from when the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes," and when there was another recent earthquake, I don't actually have that one, but anyways, because Japan had 2 back-to-back, and then there was another earthquake I believe I saw. can't remember where it was though. Not super important, just to mention. But yeah, you've seen this, all types of earthquakes happen, all right, just randomly, okay, in random places. This because this is part of the prophecies and uproars of the people in the world. I wonder what we get if he actually have to pull up the scripture. Where is it? Right here under my finger, I can see it. Uproars. All right, a loud and impassioned noise or disturbance, and that's what you see happening right there in the video. People hitting the streets, okay, in videos like this one and other videos as well. Protests, right, happening all around the world all the time. A loud and impassioned noise or disturbance, all right. Similar turmoil. I think we just said that word, didn't we? Turmoil, disorder. Oh, we always use that one. Confusion, a situation of panic, a breakdown of order, because that's out of orderedness. Confusion, all right, is the exact opposite of having order, which is everything intact and in line, all right? All the ducks in a row. Look, there's another good one. Chaos, complete disorder and confusion. And like in the Batman movie, the Joker says, all they need is a little push. And that's what Esau is doing right now with all these things that he's bringing upon, the pressure he's putting upon these people, all right, all over the world, especially here in Babylon, all right? He's giving them that little push, okay? Commotion, disturbance. Commotion, I think commotion is in Luke 21, pretty much the mirror chapter also to Matthew 24, all right? Commotions, you should hear wars and commotions, it says. A state of confused and noisy disturbance, you see? Which is what? Uproars of the people, all right? Linking that right here to where we at now in the Apocrypha. Disturbance, tumult, that's a scripture. That's a word you might hear in the scriptures. A loud, all right, confused noise. Wow, both of those, all right, confused noise. Okay, it says that in Isaiah, all right, every battle of the warriors fought with confused noise. See, out there in the streets, or I guess in the 8 times out there in the field or whatever, okay, or within the city walls, right? Every battle of the warriors fought with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. But this talking about World War III shall be with what? Burning a field of fire. And what do you see happening? People droning each other, people using tanks, missiles and rockets and bullets and guns. Okay, and ultimately it's going to lead up to what? Nuclear missiles flying, ICBMs. Especially one caused by a large mass of people. There you go, said enough. Especially one caused by a large mass of people. A tumult of shouting and screaming broke out, what we're seeing in the video. Turbulence, that's something you hear about like in the air or whatever. Let me see what it has. Violent or unsteady movement. Yep, see? Violent or unsteady movement of air or water or of some other fluid. The plane shudder as it enters some turbulence. There's one. Mayhem, right? Pandemonium, right? Some havoc, right? The bedlam. A scene of uproar and confusion. Now, here, why do they have this one darkened out that we can't click on it? All hell broken loose. And that's what's said all the time, all right? When all hell breaks loose. SHTF, okay? All hell broken loose. Noise, din. A loud, unpleasant, and unprolonged noise. Clamor, hubbub. Oh, I didn't mean to click on that. A busy, noisy situation. Racket, row, clangor. What the hell is a clangor? A continuous loud banging or ringing sound. Oh yeah, I guess like a clang. So clangor. Well, I've never seen that word before. Babble, shouting, yelling. Oh, they even have the other babble here. A confused noise made by a number of voices. Yeah, a bunch of people out in the streets. All right. Babble. All right. Confusion. The sound of people talking simultaneously. Similar. All right. Bangarang. What the hell? An uproar or disturbance. Bangarang. All right. Hullabaloo. All right, that's something you hear in some old cartoons or something like that. A commotion, a fuss. Rumpus. A noisy disturbance, a commotion. Yeah, we got a trumpet on the run right now. Opposite, calm. It's one word, calm. Order. They should have put order. A public expression of protest or outrage. More similar words to that one. outcry, furor, outrage, an outbreak of public anger or excitement. Howl of protest, protestation, complaint, objection, clamor, fuss, commotion again, hue and cry, a loud clamor or public outcry, same thing, different words, same meaning. A lot of these, I think we just saw roll a number of people or things in a more or less straight line. And here it's a less straight line. There's a bunch of people gathered together protesting. Ruckus, brouhaha, a noisy and overexcited reaction or response to something. Opposition, dissent, vociferation. Can't click it, so I can't pull it up. Wow, indignation. There you go. Anger or annoyance provoked by what is perceived as unfair treatment. Hullabaloo. I think we just saw that. Rumpus as well. Ballyhoo. Extravagant publicity or fuss. After all the ballyhoo, the film was a flop. Okay. Stink. Ruction. Stink, a commotion or fuss. Ruction. A disturbance or quarrel. Opposite, acquiescence. The acceptance of something without protest. And I think I said that right.
Acquiescence.
Oh yeah, and I didn't think she was going to be that loud either. Merriam-Webster, the meaning of uproar is a state of commotion, excitement, or violent disturbance. Okay. Middle Dutch, op, meaning up. Roar, or roar, meaning confusion. So up, confusion, or confusion, uproar. Middle Dutch, uproar. So pretty much the same thing there, meaning confusion though. Uproar, right? Main thing, meaning what? Confusion. So there we go. So yeah, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people, right, in the world, and this is in Serbia, Belgrade, right, this particular event, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Yep, Isaiah 46:10, declaring the end from the beginning and saying that my counsel shall stand and I will do all my pleasure. I was about to pull it up. Right now, I will do all my pleasure. Right, the things, declaring things that are not yet done. Okay, saying my counsel shall stand and I will do all my pleasure. For like as all that is made in the world had the beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonder and powerful works, and endings in effects and signs. All right. And yeah, creation was a wonderful work. And the end of this age, which happens to be Esau's age, because the Lord gave all the different nations. The Lord gave different nations a time to rule in this earth. All right. Jerusalem shall be trodden down to the Gentile until the times of the Gentile be fulfilled. The last Gentile in power is in power right now, which are the Edomites, right before the Lord takes over. Let's go back over here. So going back to the video, all those words that we read make a lot more sense now, right?
The salary of Congress has been frozen.
All right, so this is probably the final video. I might even speed it up a little bit. We'll see. It's only 35 minutes. Because this video right here is about, I don't know, somewhere between 12 and 15 minutes long. But another uproar of the people. Actually, I'm glad we read that scripture last, because you had some people who were speaking up about this this congressperson who was talking about they make I think they said $89 an hour, and were complaining that is not enough to live. Wait a minute. And you see why the people, were in outrage. Like, you don't tell us that you're making $89 and this is not enough. Look at us, right? Like, look what we're making. We're not making enough. So what are you doing all right, with your money, or how's your living, that off of $89 an hour, you're not making enough money, okay? Now, whether or not they really make $89, who knows, okay? Could have just said it to smart people, but more than likely, maybe they do, I'm not sure. But, you know, let's play into this video here. I think this dude's name is Jay Reed. I never knew his name before. I saw it yesterday, Jay Reed. All right. So yeah. And it says here, Mike Johnson says that we need insider trading, excuse me, so people can provide for their families. All right.
Salary of Congress has been frozen since 2009. You know, when you adjust for inflation, a member of Congress today is making 31% less than they made in that year. It goes down every year, and over time, if you stay on this trajectory, you're going to have less qualified people who are willing to make the extreme sacrifice to run for Congress. I mean, it's just people just make a reasonable decision as a family on whether or not they can come and move to Washington, have a residence here, a residence at home, and do all the things that are required. So the counter argument is, and I have some sympathy, look, at least let them like engage in some stock trading so that they can continue to, take care of their family.
I cannot believe we're talking about. Are we talking about the same Congress that only works 88 days in a year? We're also talking about the same Congress that can see every single action and vote on the actions and know what is actually coming into fruition. I cannot believe I'm watching this video right now. See,
and that was part of the talk, saying that, oh, you make this amount of money an hour, you only work 88 days a year. All right. Like I said, I'm not even sure about the salary. Possibly true, maybe not. I mean, given the 88 days out the year, it's possibly true. But anyways, this is the thing they were saying. Okay, you make this amount of money an hour, you only work this amount of days a year. Okay, so your living scenario should be decent. You should be just fine. So I mean, so if you're still missing the point, the people are complaining because it's saying, how are you complaining about living? And we're making, this X amount of money. All right. Minimum wage is still $7.25 and all these different things they're saying there. All right. So, it sparked some outrage.
this is so tone deaf. This is so out of touch. And when I see videos like this of people in power saying that $174,000 is not enough money for a person, somebody who is working within Congress, especially when they only work 88 days a year. Seriously. And maybe my numbers are a little bit off. Maybe some people may not work 88 days. I don't care. The Speaker of the House also makes $223,000 a year. I know somebody who would be perfectly fine with this amount of money in these positions. I'm going to be quite honest with you. And I get what he's saying in his whole scheme. He's basically saying, to keep the positions competitive, to keep people incentivized to go out and work within Congress, they need to raise it or find a different way to, make more incentives inside of their package. I get what he's saying, but honestly, I think people would do Congress regardless. It's basically serving for the United States of America. It's one of the most prestigious positions you can get within the country. Like, let's be honest with you. So when we talk about insider trading, there is no excuse. It's not. It's unfair game, and you know exactly what you're getting yourself into before you even get into it. However, people are reacting to this all over the internet. We're going to get so many different perspectives. Let's check out this next video right here, guys.
So Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, had the audacity to say that $174,000 a year isn't enough to keep up, and that they should be allowed to trade stocks because they need to provide for their families. Hold up. So the people directly responsible for, the inflation, the gas prices, and the cost of groceries and living right now are literally complaining about $174,000. Like, legitimately. But don't add the fact that they have subsidized healthcare, free gyms, and my favorite part, 5 years of service gives them a lifetime pension. Let's talk about actual service, okay? Let's talk about the military. When an E1 enlists into the military, they raise their right hand and support and defend the Constitution. The exact same Constitution that Congress swore an oath on. But while they are making a cool $174, do you want to know how much an E1 makes? $28,800 a year in base pay. 28 grand to fight, bleed, and potentially die for this country. And before any of y'all come up there and jump on like, well, you volunteer for this, so does Congress. Right. But Congress needs insider trading to provide for their families. And let's talk about insider trading because the hypocrisy is sickening. Right now, there is Army Special Forces Master Sergeant Gannon Van Dyke.
Hold on, wait. Let's not pass by this chart right here for 1 second. Let's sit on this for just a second to build the perspective of what we.
And real quick, if I'm correct, like E1, one of like the lowest rank going in. I guess that $28,000 is about right. They also get it like a signing bonus. I believe it's like also around $25,000. But I mean, $50,000 for that first year, and any years after that. Well, there's only one sign-on bonus. Okay, just ain't enough to go fight for a country that hates you. But that's a whole other topic in itself, man. I was just thinking about it when you mentioned the E1 or whatever. They do get like 25 to 50,000, something like that, sign-in bonus or something like that. And then I guess and a lot of those younger individuals, when they had a chance to, they blew a lot of their money because when they were able to shop and stuff, they bought the most expensive car, which you're not gonna need if you're gonna go off the service again. So that's why a lot of times cars are only rented and then returned. But you had a lot of guys who mismanaged the money who buy a lot of clothes. And I'm saying this because I knew a guy who did this once, and other guys in the same category who would have bought a bunch of clothes, spent this, spent that, or they sent money to some chick they thought that was theirs, and she took advantage of it and all these different types of things like that. But other topic.
Are dealing with right now. Nancy Pelosi is one of the most profitable Congress traders in 2024. Do you guys know how much money she made within 2024, guys? Within 2024 alone, $24.1 million, guys. 24.1. Mitt Romney is $17.4 million. Mark Warner, 11. I mean, seriously, millions and millions of dollars. And we're talking about the cost of living, the inflation, and all these different things. Congress is directly tied to the things that are going on directly in this country right now. We talk about gas prices, we talk about grocery prices, we talk about tariffs. If you do your job, you wouldn't have an issue with the cost of living and all these different things going up. And I know exceptions happen. I know we didn't plan for a pandemic. I know we didn't plan for all these different things to happen. However, this war that we in, it was directly a direct decision that caused a lot of these different things to go up. Let's be real here.
Speaker Mike Johnson, his salary is $223,000 a year, and the base salary for Congress is $174,000. And baby, you mean to tell me you can't live off of that? That's the video. His salary is $223,000 a year, and the base salary for a congressman or woman is $174,000, and he said that that's not enough for them. Who needs to let him know, or who needs to tell him that the federal minimum wage in the United States, correct me if I'm wrong, is $7.25?
While I completely understand, I get it. They've been the same wage for a long time. It's just very tone deaf, and it's very unjust timing. Out of all times you want to talk about it, it's right now. Seriously. But anyways, this is a great video. Let's finish the rest of this, guys.
They need to provide for their families. And let's talk about insider trading, because the hypocrisy is sickening. Right now, there is Army Special Forces Master Sergeant Gannon Van Dyke, who is facing 5 federal criminal charges. Why? Because he allegedly used classified material intel to bet on the capture of Nicholas Moderno. On Polymart, he made $400 grand. And DOJ and the CFTC immediately arrested him. They seized his passport. They hit him with a $250,000 bond because insider trading in the military is a federal crime. Huh. Weird. But when a politician does it and sits behind a classified briefing, walks out and dumps millions of dollars in a stock market, or when the market crashes, or my favorite part, when they buy a defense budget, that's not considered insider trading. That's called providing for their family.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the part about this whole situation. It's so frustrating. It makes no sense how we just allow certain things to happen and, don't care. We don't say anything about it. But when, I can talk about it. I can rant about this all day. Let's get back to the clips, guys.
Y'all know that Congress is out here telling people that they cannot survive off of $174,000 a year salary. Do you know who can? I can. Send it here. Send that 174 over here. Let me show you what I can do with 174. Baby, I would be living my best life. I would have a healthy savings. I would be paying down on my mortgage, my credit cards. I'd get a new car. I'd travel.
And that right there is the main problem with women. All right. When they think about money, they immediately think about vanity. Okay. I will pay down my mortgage. I'm gonna travel. I'm gonna spend money. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna live, a fancy life. Okay. And this is why a lot of them are now struggling, right? Because they were able to utilize the government. Some of that even because of throwing their men under the bus, their baby fathers or whatever, okay, under the bus. When once again, utilizing the government, and, certain things that they're able to get, and yeah, just making a lot of use from that and manipulating the system. Okay, and now, we're at the end of this man's age where that has stopped for them, for these women, all right? That has um, you know, that well has run dry, okay, for a lot of women, okay, which is why you get a lot of women complaining about struggling, okay, and look at their mindset. You see, they're not about building; they're about finding a man who already has, so they can attach themselves to, pretty much the ultimate leech, attach themselves to. But when it comes to their own money, all right, they don't really know exactly what to do with it, all right, which is why they should be like naturally home, taking care of the children, watching over the household, all right? And they don't need any money, all right? The man needs all the money because the man is going to provide it, pay. And of course, I'm not talking about now because, it's not likely that's going to happen now. I'm just speaking in general, right? The man to provide for the family, things of that nature. So she doesn't need money, all right? She just need the groceries to come in so she can cook, all right? She's to help and provide that man like she was made, right? To be a help meet. But you get the point. Let's get back to the video.
I think I could do it. Not to mention, I do live in one of the most expensive states in the country, Massachusetts. So if I could live off 174, I'm not anybody special. If I could do it, surely they can do it. And only work 86 days a year or whatever it is that they did last year. They was barely working. So what you mean? Sounds like poor money management. Sounds like you don't need to be running a country.
Yeah, I think the issue is, we've turned the entire government system into a money machine, right? We put billionaires in power. We let people like Elon Musk, who's, almost a trillionaire at this point, we let them run entire departments, and everything became more about money. And how much money do you have? And how much money do you have? How much money did you make this week? Like, everything became about how much money every single body can potentially make and we can bring to the country. The president is a billionaire, right? Like, this is what it turned into. So now they're trying to justify it in any kind of way to make it seem like, oh, it's okay. He's making $1 billion. Why not make everybody billions of dollars, right? Instead of looking at what the true baseline of the job is, and that is to provide and serve for the American people. Truly, that's what it is.
That's actually not what it is. And that's the thing about the American people. They don't understand that their government does not care about them. And all these Congress people, are bought and paid for, all right? They have an agenda. Those above them have an agenda. And all the way up to the top, to the president, who has an agenda because they pretty much all work for the so-called elite banking families. Now, whether or not, like they say, there's levels of classification or however you want to say it, all right? Everybody really knows, because I don't think so, all right? I believe there's only a small circle that really knows that orders really truly come from above the president, all right? Most of these people probably don't know, but they're just, they have to be in with the game, because you don't need to know exactly the top leaders, okay, what they're about and what they're doing and how they're manipulating the system, and actually own and control the system to actually be in line with the agenda. You just need someone above you to tell you this, that, and the third thing, all right? This is how this is going to go, and da. And of course, these people would always do it for what? Their profit, man. Okay, these Congress people, okay, they do it for profit. Governors, right? They'll withhold money from a city, all right, and so on and so forth. And and that's why you get found with a lot of corrupt people, okay. But yeah, so let me play the next one.
baseline. People don't care about how much money you're making. It's more about what is the average American feeling right now and how great are you at your job. And if you're actually great at your job, you're able to reverse inflation and improve the job market. Get us out of this war for 1 second, right? Like, if you're able to do all these different things, then maybe, yeah, for people would be in support, in favor of it raised. But unfortunately, due to circumstance, that's just not where we're at right now. That is the honest truth, guys.
Yeah, because America is slowly being, the boat is being rocked, all right? The Lord is close to destroying this place. Now, we don't know the day and the hour, all right? We don't know when all hell is going to break loose and so on and so forth. But we see the atmosphere of things taking place, all right? We can see that America is really, really in the hot seat, all right? It's in a boiling pot right now, okay? And it doesn't have too much longer.
According to Mike Johnson, the federal minimum wage should be about $84 an hour. Now, that's not for me and you. He doesn't give a shit if we can afford to feed our families. But what he is saying is that he makes $174,000 a year, which equates to about $84 an hour. Now, he says that that is not enough for Congress to be able to support their family because of inflation and so therefore, they should be able to stock trade, even though it results in insider trading. So if by that logic, you're right, Mike Johnson, $174,000 really isn't that much. The average household income is about $70,000, $100,000 less than that. And the minimum wage is $7.25.
And I think she's going to make a good point right after this. Of course, it's just talk. I believe this chick's going to make a good point after this, though.
Yeah.
Or maybe she's done.
He can't survive making 11 times more than the federal minimum wage. I think we should use what he said and apply the same logic to workers. Raise the minimum wage to a livable wage, according to Mike Johnson.
I mean, why not?
Yeah, see, that was the point right there, which makes sense. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to do this, but what she said makes sense, because if you're saying that the average salary is $174,000, yours is $223 a year, and you're saying that you can't survive, then what about all these other people who make all this much more less money? What do you think they're feeling? So maybe everybody's salary should be raised up to what you make, and then everybody's, baseline across the board. Everybody's all level, which according to him would still be struggling, but you get the point though. So what about people that only make this X amount of dollars an hour? You see? So that's the point that she was making there, in describing how what he said is, preposterous, right? Doesn't make sense. And I believe he probably said it just to stir up, he's probably told to say that, right? To stir up people for stuff like this, going into TikToking, because people TikTok everything nowadays, okay? But it's just to mess with the minds of the people, man.
Get $1 million. You get $1 million.
And remember that chart there that he showed, right? That some of these Congress people are in stocks and things of that nature. They're already doing it. So what is he talking about? And they're making millions. Because, they have insiders they can, get some information from, and so they know what to do, buy and trade and sell, whatever the case may be. All right, man, it's all that, but you get the point. See?
Everybody get $1 million. Let's all make $1 million. Truly, let's do it. Because why not? And seriously, when we talk about what the president makes as a salary right now, currently it's $400,000. And I'm not saying Trump, and I'm just saying the president objectively as what it is. So if we talk about raising the price of the Congress, guess who else needs to get a raise? The president. I mean, that's just what it is. And once again, I'm not talking about Trump specifically. I'm just saying the role of the president, whoever it is in the future, right? $400,000, I guess is not enough, because they've also stayed the same over the past decade. So let's be real. I mean, we got to be honest and open about what the situation truly is. But people are losing it. It's crazy. I got a bunch of clips there as well. Y'all check those out. Let me know what you think about this down in the comment section below.
You won't believe what Mike Johnson just said out loud. And the funny thing, it's not even the first part that's the worst. It's the second. Watch this to the end.
The salary of Congress has been frozen since 2009. When you adjust for inflation, a member of Congress today is making 31% less than they made in that year. It goes down every year. And over time, if you stay on this trajectory, you're going to have less qualified people who are willing to make the extreme sacrifice to run for Congress. So the counter argument is, and I have some sympathy, look, at least let them engage in some stock trading so that they can continue to, take care of their family.
We can't survive on $175,000. Let us do insider trading. You know how many Americans don't live on $175,000 because they don't make $175,000. And you know what they don't get to do when they don't make $175,000? They don't get to do insider trading. The fact that you want to come on here and tell us that because the congressmen and women who make this sacrifice and go to D.C. and have to have another residence can't live on $175,000 to $200,000, the least you can let us do is insider trading. Do you think we're stupid? I don't understand where these people get off. Absolutely insane to say that out loud to the American people in this economy right now. Mike Johnson, you should be ashamed.
But that's the point. That's why they had him say that. Because they know the point of they know where people are at right now, in their mindset. They know that people are ready to break. All right. As a matter of fact, let me get this before I even leave Ezra. Let me see if I can get back to let's see here. Now I'm thinking about it. So I was about to go and grab something. All right. So Second Ezra 15 and we'll get 15 and 15 and probably 16. For the sword and their destruction draw nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another. This is what they want you to do. Not these particular people in particular. All right. It's really the so-called elite banking families, all right, who are pulling these strings behind closed doors, all right, the rulers of darkness, all right, because they can't rule openly, all right, they got to secretly rule, okay, but that's how they move, all right. What it says in, I think it's in Isaiah, where it says, none seeth me, okay, so on and so forth, Isaiah 47 maybe, all right, none seeth me, they move in secrecy and darkness, all right, they can't sleep lest they cause when they fall. And, all these different things, woe unto you that decree unrighteous decrees, right? Grievousness which he prescribes, all right? It's those bankers who are trying to put this tight squeeze, especially on the American economy, American people, all right? Because they're ready to bring in the next phase. But as we always mention, timing is key. They got to do it right, okay? They got to do it right, all right? Because this is their one chance to pull this off, okay? And at the end of the day, they're really only being controlled on the left-hand side, all right? They're doing no more than the Lord is allowing them to do, what the Lord has set them up to do. But, just to, to close off my thought, all right, yeah, they're doing this on purpose, okay? Because they're trying to break the minds of the American people before they actually, spring their trap, which is going to lead to, identification, digital system, and the microchip, all right? Which, I'm trying to talk about that, but, you get the point. It's there. You can't not talk about it sometimes. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And that's where these protests come from, right? The last video, and this is not exactly protesting this video, but, given the right crowd of people, scenarios like that do lead to protest, okay? For there shall be sedition among men, all right? Inciting speech, okay? We always talk about Bane, all right? When he was at the football field, all right, that was sedition, because he made a good speech to rouse the people up and told them to take back the city, and they was like, hell yeah, so they went for it, all right, and then, he had the other scenario about the bomb being planted and so on and so forth, but you get the point, all right, he was a major catalyst in raising Gotham City up against one another, and that's exactly what the elites do. They put the people against one another, so they never direct their attention and their anger towards who they really should direct it to, which is them, right? Divide and conquer. It says, in invading one another, they should not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power, all right? And that's what they're hoping for. They want the people to wild out, okay? They want the people to go nuts so they can, bring in whatever else they want to bring in, martial law, more troops, and, so on and so forth, change this plan, that plan, and just bring in a whole new system. Revelation 13:16. All right, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark of the name of the beast or the number of his name. Because this is what it all leads up to, right? That enterprise, that new world order agenda, okay, which is to delete many people, all right, so the system can actually work, all right, because they don't have enough computing ability to house all those zeros and ones and information and data about all these different people, even though there's been tons and tons of data centers all over, all right. Their rulership can't hold all this data on, of all the people, because they're not God, okay? The Egyptians are men and not God, and the horse is flesh. They're not the Most High, okay? It's not even a thought for him to house all information about everybody, control everybody, all these different things that he does all at once with zero effort, okay? He wants to do that. He wants to be God and want to play God. And it shows you how faulty that the idea is, because they have to I know I mention it all the time, but they have to actually depopulate, all right, the population, just in order for it to hopefully work, okay? These people are nobody, just a bunch of wicked people, all right, a secret society coven or whatever, okay, secret wizards and warlocks, just trying to bring wickedness upon the world, oppression upon the people. As the scripture say, they speak lawfully concerning oppression or something like that. Pride can bask them about as a chain, and not trouble as other men, okay? And then he set these low-level people up, very low-level, talking about congressmen and stuff like that. Very, very low-level people who don't really have any true knowledge of the higher-up things, all right? They only know what they need to know, but they're not, real insider people, okay? Set them up to say things like this, and, it's just so many other things that pour into, tinkling around with the minds of the American people, because they're pushing towards that breaking point, that civil unrest, okay? And, their movies reveal a lot of things, all right? It's predictive programming. So they wouldn't make a movie like Civil War or Leave the World Behind, all right, if they're not actually going to push the people towards a civil war, if one's not actually going to happen, okay? So, and that's what the so-called elite want. They're going to sit back and laugh and watch and drink, whatever they're going to drink, probably some adrenaline, but, sit back, watch and laugh and smile as it all goes down, okay? And then pull out the next order of their plan, okay, and push towards controlling the scenario, all right, after the people have been so weakened, chaos, cannibalism, all kinds of madness is going on, all right, even these troops that are going to set up, quick response forces, the actual troops, you got to think some of them are probably, possibly going to be deleted, but they don't care about casualties on either side, okay? It's just that they control the troops. They can't necessarily control the minds of the people, but they can actually break them by the scenarios placed on them. And that's what they're looking for, to bring people to this breaking point. And then when they offer something like the UBI or the microchip or whatever else it is that they're offering, people will be willing to take it because of their current situation. All right. But that was it for that video there. That was probably the longest one. I saw that. Then the other, small things that we talked about. So that's it. We're going to leave it at that. Lord willing, you will edify to the next thing I'm going to say. Shalom.